Hello, friends. This is Sam Chaney reporting for Weaponized News. Today, June 2nd, 2025. Thank you for joining us on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. We have Ruckus on the line, so I'm going to get through the intro here as fast as I can. I do have quite a bit of this day in history. So there's a big attack over the weekend on Russia, Operation Spider's Web by Ukraine. Ukraine denies any help from the United States intelligence. I don't know about that. We'll go over that. We're going to follow up on Palantir as everybody's coming to the realization. Well, Weaponized News is reporting for, I don't know, a good 2 months here now, even before that. But we laid the groundwork for scientific dictatorship with the long, boring lectures from Lord Bertrand Russell, from Sir Julian Huxley. And so we've covered all of the history behind this. And they're like, you had Technocracy, then you had these guys in the middle. They all figure in to be globalist, one world government, technocratic, tyrant, maniacs that want to control the population, decrease the population, and put us in a prison. And so we've covered that extensively here. And now flash forward to 2025, it's being admitted in the mainstream by your failing New York Times, as if we needed their confirmation that indeed Palantir Foundry has taken over a few governmental agencies here now. Isn't it just wonderful? And so we're going to go over what is Foundry today from Palantir, from their own website, and see if we can suss out a little bit more about our dystopic future here that awaits us, or it's already here, essentially. They've already done it. And so happy Pride Month to everyone out there. It's National Dairy Month as well, the USDA tells us, on top of Pride Month. We've got Operation, Elsa? Operation Elsa. And so isn't this exciting? The FDA is launching Operation Elsa today, a generative AI tool designed to help speed up the scientific review process. And so isn't this exciting? Who cares about, long-term safety data? Who cares? Don't be a conspiracy guy. You know what I mean? Yeah, but who cares about their history of, just who cares? Sign up for human experimentation and trust the science. As they continue to tell us they're trying to rebuild trust, I don't see how that works out with all this nonsense, but we're gonna go over that. What else do we got? Operation Patriot, allegedly launched by the Department of Homeland Security. Not nearly enough on their deportation efforts. We'll go over that. Aardvark News, as always, the genocide there continues. Maybe we don't have to nuke Iran. I don't know. Allegedly, there's a peace deal or some kind of deal with their nuclear program, because they're going to have 20 nuclear bombs in 2 weeks. Don't you know? For the last 25 years, the absurdity of it all. Maybe we cannot go to direct war with Iran, as in the background, Aardvark say they're preparing for war with Iran or to strike Iran nuclear facilities. God forbid they have a nuke. You know what I mean? They've been having a nuke forever. Who cares? Now's the time to strike them. More Aardvark genocide news. It goes on and on and on. How many in the last 24 hours? Only 51 Palestinians have been killed. So, you know what I mean? All Hamas, so it's perfectly fine. We have the State Department former spokesman. I'm sure you guys will remember this joker. What's his name? Matt Miller. We played him quite a bit when asked by the press at the propaganda briefings from the State Department. He'd just sit there and with a shit-eating grin on his face when asked about genocide, crimes against humanity. that aardvarks are committing. Now he admits that's exactly what's happening. So there you go. Which we already know, but more confirmation from alleged official source Matt Miller there. It just goes on and on and on. Maybe Greta can save them. Greta Thunberg, climate activist, is sailing an aid ship over there. Maybe aardvarks will just blow her up. You know what I mean? And so all of that and much more on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Yeah, I think we covered all the main headlines. Okay, this day in history, let me blast through this. On this day of June 2nd, going back to 1835, P.T. Barnum and his circus begin first U.S. tour. I think a couple, last week we reported on their last of that, touring with the circus. In 1851, the first U.S. alcohol prohibition law was enacted in Maine. In 1862, Robert E. Lee takes command of the Confederate armies of Northern Virginia. In 1875, Alexander Graham Bell makes first sound transmission. In 1896, Marconi's wireless patent for a system of wireless telegraphy in the U.S. He applied for a patent on this day. In 1903, the first patent for adrenaline, epinephrine, was granted to Japanese-American chemist Jokai Tamakamine. In 1919, anarchist bombs in Washington, D.C. provoked the Red Scare. Bombs planted by anarchists exploded in Washington, D.C. on this day on the doorsteps of several prominent government officials. One exploded at the doorstep of the home of the Attorney General A. Mitchell Palmer. Another exploded across the street at the home of Assistant Secretary of the Navy Franklin D. Roosevelt, future President FDR, major tyrant. The bombs, together with a series of major strikes in the summer of 1919, the Bolshevik Revolution in Russia in November of 1917, and an emergence of an American Communist Party in 1919 were major factors in provoking the post-World War I Red Scare. In particular, the bombs convinced Attorney General Palmer that the U.S. was on the verge of a revolution. And so don't attack your government officials with bombs. Moving forward to 1924, Calvin Coolidge, president at the time, signs the Indian Citizenship Act, making all Native Americans, native-born Americans, Native Americans, to be American citizens, so they can be slaves too. So there you go. Good times. 1942 here, and this was this yesterday? It was yesterday, but I thought it was significant. So this was June 1st, but it's significant. In 1942, court limits sterilization of offenders. Skinner versus Oklahoma. The Supreme Court on this day declared unconstitutional an Oklahoma law that permitted the sterilization of criminal offenders after they had 2 or more convictions of crimes of moral turpitude. The case of Skinner versus Oklahoma involved Oklahoma Habitual Criminal Offender Sterilization Act. White-collar crimes such as embezzlement were not covered by the law. However, the purpose of the law was essentially eugenic, to prevent people with alleged criminogenic genes from reproducing. So there you go. Less than 100 years ago, they're sterilizing people with eugenics there in America for your own good, for public safety. We wouldn't have it any other way. In 1952, on this day, 650,000 metal workers go on strike in America. In 1953, we saw the coronation of Queen Elizabeth II. Is she a lizard? We don't know. In 1967, race riots in Roxbury, a suburb of Boston. In 1975, this is one of my favorites, then Vice President Nelson Rockefeller finds no pattern of illegal activity at the CIA. Well, if you can't trust Nelson Rockefeller, Vice President, I don't know who you can trust, the CIA, I guess. In 1979, LA Mayor Tom Bradley signs the first homosexual rights bill. In 1989, we saw the Tiananmen Square start kicking off a little bit. They call it the Goddess of Democracy, where they built this little statue, looking like the Statue of Liberty, but over there in China, the protesters called it the Goddess of Democracy. In 1989, we saw 10,000 Chinese soldiers blocked by 100,000 citizens in Tiananmen Square, Beijing, protecting students demonstrating for democracy. They care about democracy in China. Who knew? In 1997, Timothy McVeigh was found guilty of the 1995 Oklahoma City bombing that killed 168 people. The feds blew up Oklahoma City. You better have no doubt about that. And in 2015, on this day, a first step, Congress curbs NSA spying. Yeah, right. Congress on this day approved limits on the capacity of the federal government to spy on Americans through the National Security Agency. Sure. Passage of the law came after a rancorous battle in both the House and the Senate that resulted in a temporary shutdown of surveillance programs, God forbid, at 12:01 a.m. on June 1st, 2015. The new law was particularly significant because it represented the first time Congress had limited government spying since enactment of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, i.e. FISA, which became law on October 25th, 1978. The new law limited the capacity of the government to collect and store bulk data of telephone and email conversations, private communications. Companies can store the data, but the government can only obtain records with a warrant issued by the FISA court. Additionally, the law requires the secret FISA court to declassify some of its important decisions, a requirement that provides a new degree of transparency for the court. Finally, non-government individuals will be able to appear before the secret court and argue for privacy rights in particular cases. Well, isn't that good? Of these tyrannical maniacs? Screw your Fourth Amendment. And you think they follow this law? Hell no. And all the way to 2024, on this day last year, we saw Mexico elect its fully Mexican Hispanic first female president, Sheinbaum, there. And so we do appreciate that out of Mexico for women's rights and Mexican rights, right? Okay. With that, we'll go to our segue here. And our segue is going to be, it's going to be old Bill Clinton. If you can't trust Bill Clinton, I don't know who you can trust, maybe the CIA or the NSA, or who else can we trust? We can trust them all. We can trust Nelson Rockefeller when he was vice president as well. And so it all depends on what your definition of is. Let's take a listen to very old now, and Bill Clinton. He was always on top of his brief, referring to old President Biden. Now there's a big scandal that they all knew that he wasn't fit for duty, but they covered it up, and somehow the press couldn't. Your New York Times and the rest of these jokers, they couldn't have done their own report about it, calling into question the fitness of Joe Biden. Isn't it so scandalous? Here is our transition to bring on Ruckus, old Bill Clinton.
speaking of aging, there's this book that came out that talks about Joe Biden and the people around him seeing that he had cognitive and physical decline. Did you ever have a moment with him where you thought maybe he was unfit to run for president? No.
I thought he was a good president. The only concern I thought he had to deal with was, could anybody do that job until they were 86? And we'd had several long talks. I had never seen him and walked away thinking he can't do this anymore. He was always on top of his brief.
You never saw any cognitive decline?
So I didn't know anything about any of this, and I haven't read the book. I saw President Biden not very long ago, and I thought he was in good shape. But the book didn't register with me because I never saw him that way.
Why didn't you read the book?
I didn't want to, because he's not president anymore, and I think he did a good job, and I think we are facing challenges today without precedent in our history. And some people are trying to use this as a way to blame him for the fact that Trump was reelected.
Ruckus, how you doing this Monday?
I am okay, I suppose. I mean, the news has been pretty out there, I gotta tell you. I mean, by now I'm sure everybody's seen the crazy scandal. Speaking of Clinton, it's just absolutely shocking. I can't believe it. I know this is a family program, but they're gonna see it anyways. It's all over the internet. Did you guys notice this? Did you hear that there was a new sex tape which was leaked, a homemade sex tape between Hillary Clinton and Mark Zuckerberg? I have the footage right here. Yeah, anyways, they were... Yeah, to be honest, I caught them right in front of my house doing this. It was pretty nasty. But yeah, there you have it. Just kidding. Maybe that might be related to the Queen somehow. Maybe that's how she was conceived. Who knows? But yeah, anyways, good to be here, Sam. Happy Pride Month or whatever it is.
Happy Pride Month. The old city of Ukraine there is, they put that on their official Instagram, that they're very proud. If people didn't see, let me pull up the thumbnail here, and we're celebrating Pride Month there in Ukraine. Here it is. Their official city seal is all rainbowed out for us, thankfully. I don't know what we would do without this. There you go. There's the official Pride Month celebration there for Kiev. Official city seal.
Hey, that's what I got behind me today. Weird.
It's pretty awesome, huh? Yeah, so you can't trust Bill Clinton that Biden was perfectly fine. I don't know who we can trust in this whole scandal that's coming out that nobody knew.
Well, Bill Clinton arguably is an incredibly trustworthy individual on record. So. Yeah.
Okay, Palantir. Let's cover Palantir. Oh, wait, first this short clip. Who runs the U.S. government? I don't know. We have Palantir's man there, J.D. Vance, like in a roundabout way. Well, he is their inside man in the White House. J.D. Vance. Let's watch this short clip, and then we'll go to Palantir and take a look at what they're doing with their Foundry software operating system that's taken over the government allegedly.
Is there actually a rule that says you as vice president should not kiss the papal ring?
The protocol is that American presidents and vice presidents do not bow before foreign leaders do not kiss any rings. And obviously, given our history, you can appreciate that. So no sign of disrespect, but important to observe the protocols of the country that I love and that I'm representing and that I serve as vice president of the United States.
I heard J.D. Vance is starting his own line of eye makeup. It's called Mascara.
Mascara. He may be. So he's the inside man there, hooked up with Thiel. And Thiel, of course, is hooked up with Palantir and Musk. And all of these jokers are tech bro, fake libertarian, elitist, transhumanist that have essentially taken over our government as MAGA cheers it on. I saw a couple comments because this broke big, Friday, I guess, from the New York Times. that indeed they've taken over 4 government agencies that we know of. And here's the, but people are MAGA saying, well, they're just going to make it more efficient. Don't you? So you should like that. Here is the aforementioned software on Palantir site here. Palantir Foundry, the ontology powered operating system for modern enterprise. And allegedly, this is what they're running our government with now. Let's watch this video. There is no, it's a short one, and there is no audio for it. But this gives you a little bit idea of the workflow, if we can trust them, about how this operating system works. Foundry.
If you say any of this makes sense, you're lying.
Oh, I totally understand what they're talking about here. So there we go. That's the Foundry system.
Well, shoot, I'm convinced. I'm all in. Where do I sign up?
I think we're already in. We don't have a choice. The Foundry ontology, schematic, kinetic, dynamic. Maybe this is that 3-4D chess that they always tell us about. Oh, we have some of that idiot Q psyop stuff that Trump posted over the weekend too. Forgot to mention that. Activate your data and analytics in a dynamic system for closed loop operations. Step into real-time collaboration. This is where they're tracking you in real time here.
It's a bit of a revelation of the method, I suppose. They're opening up the doors. They've gone public now. Now you too can do what only shady governments and operatives have been able to do in the past.
Achieve real-time collaboration between your data analytics and operational teams. Integrate decision-making in a key logical layer, driving meaningful action as conditions evolve. And so they're across all, we'll see they care about anti-money laundering. So, I mean, they must be good, right? So here's some of the industries they're in. AIs, of course, healthcare, R&D, retail, energy, supply chain. That's where this operating system Foundry is being used today. One platform, global impact. I didn't even know this until I started looking at their website. We got to cover this on another day, but indeed, my power company, PG&E, is using Foundry as its operating system to screw over Californians here with like the highest energy prices in the whole country, as they laugh about being, they pled guilty to manslaughter in the killing 84 people in the Pacific Palisades fires, and no one gets in trouble, and they literally just spit in your face and say pay more. So we have that to look forward to.
I was just thinking this is going to be a fine addition to, say, I don't know, social credit score system. It's also going to play a beautiful, wonderful, heroic, I might even suggest, role in the next medical emergency, which is probably right around the corner and or evolving, mutating as we speak. So yeah, no, this is I mean, and let's not forget, I mean, I've reported about this on my own program recently, the Daily Ruckus, of course, but yeah, the police, how would you like the local police to know all of this information about you and to be able to access it in real time? Oh yeah, this is good times. This is worse than Big Brother. This is like a freaking like a swarm. It's Big Brother swarm. That's what it is. This is nuts.
They're keeping us safe, man. Anything for public safety and public health.
And it's effective.
And it's safe and effective at murdering people. They've been using this in the Aardvark genocide. I don't think particularly Foundry, but Palantir itself is using AI targeting systems to do the 6 degrees of separation thing that says, if you knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody that knew somebody down the line like that, 6 degrees, that delivered a pizza, that talked to Hamas, then you're all guilty and you deserve to be droned. And that's exactly what they're doing. And so they're in the supply chain, they're in engineering and manufacturing, healthcare delivery. This is what's going to keep us safe right here. Thankfully, for the next, when they roll out the next medical intervention and lockdown, Palantir is on it. Oh, and they're on top of a global bank right here. They're in international banking, and so that's always wonderful as well. And they're praised right here, and so you can see their praise. And you too can get started using this operating system. Just sign up right here, and a drone Terminator will be at your house in minutes.
I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it live on air. I'm going to record myself doing this. We're going to do this and figure it out. I'm going to put this up on a channel, my Rumble channel or whatever it's called. Anyways, this is... I'm just like, because what Palantir basically amounts to a certain degree is a bit of predictive programming, not predictive programming, prediction modeling, so that they can suggest, they can imply or put a certain amount of guilt upon you based on your social media habits, and they can pretend to suggest that they know that you're about to commit a crime. So pre-crime kind of stuff, like in that movie Minority Report, but not depending on like psychics or whatever. But very, very similar. This is what I'm concerned about with any of these types of systems, because a lot of them usually are. It's interesting they're letting public access, but it's still going to be a black box technology. We don't understand the magic that's working this kind of stuff, all the algorithms and the AI. Maybe it is somebody opened a portal and they're talking to demons, which is a theory, believe it or not, I've seen out there. But the thing is, like in the movie Minority Report, their system for pre-crime, in this case our system for determining people are guilty and whatnot, is Palantir. It was rigged. Somebody in the movie, spoiler alert, managed to game the system and frame somebody. So once everybody starts accepting the fact that just because the magic of Palantir, because of the AI, and that's a common thing, and just like fingerprints became an accepted thing, like, oh, it's his fingerprints. Well, we've learned something about fingerprints. It turns out they're not as unique as people first suspected. Same thing is true with DNA. You can look this up, but they don't talk about this. Instead, you watch CSI and they're like, oh, his fingerprints were found on the scene. Everyone thinks that that's a thing. So like now it's real easy for somebody to plant your fingerprints on the scene of a crime and say like, he had to have done the crime because his fingerprints were there. Same kind of thing. As soon as more and more people are swept up and incriminated under the Palantir, and it's working successfully, safe and effective, it's going to be so much easier for them to just disappear anybody at any time for any reason and fake the data that's inside the ontology. So be very, very cautious of all of these things. I'm very concerned. I'm also very concerned I don't have enough money invested in Palantir stock, of course.
It broke big, of course, again in the New York Times. And yeah, so they're in DOGE. Of course, they're running DOGE. This was the whole point of DOGE, was to backdoor a Palantir Foundry system into the federal government. At least 4 U.S. agencies now, including Department of Homeland Security and HHS, we're going to get to them, and they're looking to go ahead and get in the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the IRS, and the Social Security Administration as well. Essentially, they're going to take over, if they haven't already, the entire federal government, and we can totally trust them like we could trust old VP Nelson Rockefeller. And so I don't know what anybody's problem with this would be. It's all about making America great again with track, trace, profiling, real-time databases on you. And so
it's called Foundry, right?
Foundry is the specific product.
But that's interesting, because by definition, that's usually used for metal casting, and it's to create the molds. So it's then you use what's created in the foundry process to then create, mass produce other things. So it's very I don't know. There's always a reason they name these things. So maybe there's something to that.
The widespread use of Foundry across the federal government will allow a number of agencies to access hundreds of data points on citizens and others through government databases, including their bank account numbers, the amount of their student loan debt, their medical claims, and any disability status, to name a few data points to draw a picture of you for termination. Thank you very much.
What level of CO2 is in your burps and in your farts? Seriously, they'll be able to do that.
We're getting there. And all this, of course, for the Internet of Things, your social credit score system, and it's all for our own good. And so don't question it, MAGA says.
Well, the good news is that like this is all going to be, you have to jump through these hoops and do the social credit score thing to receive the free universal basic income. So nobody's gonna have to work anymore. So that's nice.
There you go.
Sign me up.
You're gonna have to take every miracle that comes down the pipe and also any other, and submit to any other experimentation they want to do on you. But what the hell? At least you'll be able to. Oh, never mind. You probably won't need to eat. And we see right now when you're in. You could look at Gaza as a model. There people starving there trying to go get food. They get shot. And so we could expect that in the future when you, if you don't comply and you go try to get your bread in the bread line, the drone just terminates you. And it's all perfectly fine because you were profiled as a domestic terrorist by Palantir Foundry system, you see? And so that will streamline efficiency in executions of domestic terrorists.
Can we go back to Klaus Schwab? He just wanted us to eat the bugs. He didn't want to like shoot us while we're standing in a bread line starving to death. Holy moly.
The thing, wow. It's escalated quite a bit here now in the last...
that went south quick.
June is National Dairy Month. So off of Palantir, we'll have to come back to them and dive into PG&E. But we're moving off of Palantir. We've reported, you've been warned way before New York Times, but that's why you need to tune into Weaponized News.
This is not financial investment advice.
Yeah, their stock is sure to go nothing but up as they have an inside track to government contracts and termination contracts in the very near future. So, yeah, if you don't have a conscience or ethics, then go ahead and buy up a bunch of Palantir stock right now.
Is that why I don't own any anymore?
All right. This June, you thought it was just Pride Month and gay orgies in the streets, but it's actually also Dairy Month. And so this cow, I don't know if it was tested for bird flu. It probably should be. But here's our USDA telling us about June is National Dairy Month. And so congratulations to the cows that survived the bird flu.
I'm disheartened that they didn't try to combine the two and make the cow a rainbow color.
I think this administration is trying to back away from that. Do we even spend any time on this stupid stuff? There's the back and forth. We're going to have big investigations now again into the Biden administration. Who was controlling the auto pen and why did they all lie to us? And no one will get in trouble. It's all just a charade. Is somebody going to get in trouble from this nonsense? The newest scandal to distract us away from the fact that we basically sold out to Palantir our entire government.
Meanwhile, the current president is either just straight up lying to people knowingly, is being ignorant, playing stupid, or he's lost his mental faculties as well. So, you know, all things to consider. Maybe it's not which side of the team is in the White House there. They all have the same problem, don't they?
Trump's running PSYOPs, Honest True Social, still has idiot Q followers strung along on hopium that the good guys are in charge. Don't you worry, as Palantir takes over. And they literally spit and laugh in our face. This is what old Trump posted over the weekend, Honest True Social, feeding into this nonsense PSYOP. And I saw a bunch of Q people saying, look at here. And it's like, he's literally playing you like an idiot. Are you this stupid? Indeed, many are. There is no hashtag Joe Biden executed in 2020. Biden clones, doubles, and robotic engineered soulless, mindless entities are what you see Democrats don't know the difference. And of course, he reposted this on his True Social. You can see it right there. And that was this post. I don't even know who this is. Apparently, Army PSYOPs officer. And Trump continues with the PSYOP of Q. What a piece of shit he is. I don't even know what to say anymore at this point, Ruckus. And a bunch of idiots out there eat it up and see the good guys, the Patriot white hats are in control.
Wow.
Yeah.
All he did was repost it or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Retruthed it. What did he call it there?
He retruthed it.
Silly.
And so, don't you know, Biden was executed in 2020. And then that speaks to the fact, if this was true, then you MAGA are a bunch of tyrants, because you're talking about extrajudicial executions with no trial. And so there goes your due process. And you just raised your hand and said, go ahead and terminate me, Palantir, because I don't care about due process. And so these idiots can't wrap their mind around the fact, no matter how evil, no matter what the wrongdoings, everybody deserves a fair trial with due process, because that's what you would want if you were accused of all these wrongdoings. But they cheered on, and it's wonderful when and there'll be no one there when they don't get their trial and are executed by a Terminator. But it'll be too late then.
If you don't have a lawyer, an AI lawyer will be appointed to you at no charge.
That's where we're going for your public defender. The White House dropped a new presidential portrait. See this of Trump. Isn't this wonderful? I thought they already dropped a portrait of him, but this is the newest one today. Isn't it wonderful?
I thought it was going to be like a joke or a meme, and he was going to be like all orange with Cheetos dust on his face. So that was legit then, huh? It's nice that he's not doing the mean mugging mugshot thing anymore. At least he's being serious again.
Trying to be. Okay, the terrorist attack. They are, who knows, are they mind control patsies, organic domestic terrorists, radicals? We don't know, but you better know they're going to use this to take more of our freedom, as anti-Semitic attacks across America are cranking up here now, right ahead of the summer. A targeted terror attack. Let's watch this report out of the War Channel, Fox News.
With the Fox News alert, the FBI is investigating what is being called a targeted terror attack in Boulder, Colorado. The alleged attack happened at a mall in between 13th and 14th Street. That's in downtown, along Pearl Street in downtown Boulder. We're hearing from the FBI director, Kash Patel, calling it a targeted terror attack. We're also hearing just moments ago from the governor of Colorado, Jared Polis, who says he is closely monitoring the situation in Boulder. His thoughts go out to the people who have been injured, impacted by this heinous act of terror. Details are just coming in. Our local Denver Fox affiliate KDVR telling us that around 3 p.m., some sort of device exploded in what was an organized walk of a group that is pro-Israel that was walking in support of the hostages still held in Gaza. We're trying to learn more. We're trying to also effort some images there, but a difficult Sunday evening news to hear of what the FBI is calling a terror attack. Now, the local affiliate, KDVR in Denver, talking to some individuals that appear to be part of this group called Run for Their Lives. Again, supporting, having a walk on a Sunday afternoon to support the return of all of the hostages, Israeli hostages in Gaza. One of the organizers saying that they are devastated by this, and we're trying to find out exactly what happened and why this happened. Police have evacuated that area.
That was a breaking. Now we know more. Here's Trump's response. They're hyping it all up. Yesterday's horrific attack in Boulder, Colorado will not be tolerated in the United States of America. He came in through Biden's ridiculous open border policy, which has hurt our country so badly. He must go out under Trump policy. Again, talking about himself in the third person. Acts of terrorism will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is yet another example of why we must keep our borders secure and deport illegal anti-American radicals from our homeland. My heart goes out to the victims of this tragedy and the great people of Boulder, Colorado. There it is again on his truth. Maybe you can, here's the alleged attacker. Illegal alien Mohammed Soleiman, who set aardvark Americans on fire, entered during the Biden administration. And isn't it funny, the photo they have of him, he has that ear bandage on just like Trump had. And so, isn't that an odd...
Oh, there's a million red flags with this one. That's I just
I don't think anyone was
glanced.
killed. I think it was, no one was killed, but reports of badly burned as he threw in some makeshift Molotov cocktails, gas.
Early reports literally said that the dude had a flamethrower. So like this, so I was like, well, that's different. And then it changed to the other thing. And then next thing, and at first they were saying, oh, it's a terror attack. And next thing you know, it's a hate crime. And then in that Fox News report, I couldn't get over the fact that we have a new term we've been introduced to. I don't think I've ever heard of a targeted terror attack before. So I was like, there's just so many weird things about this that it seems like the ultimate goal is we're doing the anti-Semitism thing where we're really going gung-ho with that. So it's very, very strange, very fishy. The guy, the ear bandage. That's interesting that you noticed that. I did not. That's very strange.
Take a look. He's a big Trumper. Look, he put on the ear bandage in honor of Trump's.
Oh, that's the other thing is like, so all the mainstream media is reporting it. All the headlines, they're making sure to use the anti-Semitic word in there 9 out of 10 times. So again, that's the feeling, the narrative, the propaganda they're trying to invoke and push upon the public. And that's what we all assumed anyways, but it's just ridiculous now. I'm like, they're like, every single time somebody gets shot or killed, they're going to be like, oh, the reports said he said free Palestine before he shot and killed like, what?
I was just going to say
he
that.
He was fighting with his girlfriend before he strangled her. He said, Palestine will be free from the river to the sea. Oh, like, what the heck?
I was going to say that. I was hearing reports, too, that he was screaming free Palestine. This bastard.
They're just throwing everything.
Bastard, anti-Semitic Hamas, free Palestine bastard. Damn you. And you got the damn ear bandage just like Trump, too. And here's another image of the alleged attacker. He apparently lost his shirt, and here's the alleged firebombs in his hand. There, you can see. And so this is another example. This is another example of why we must secure our borders and deport illegal alien radicals from our homeland, Trump said. And so, yeah, there he is. Free Palestine allegedly is now an anti-Semitic hate slur.
Why is he shirtless, too? That was the other thing I was curious about.
It's gay pride. I don't know. It's hot. A man attacked a march for aardvark hostages in Colorado. We covered that. Suspect used. Here's that report from CNN. We should probably trust the initial reporting. Used a flamethrower and yelled "Free Palestine." That's too freaking good, right there, CNN.
Of course, it's CNN who would do that.
Colorado fire attack. Suspect facing 2 potential counts of murder. I guess people were killed. 6 others injured. Bless their souls. Be nice to aardvarks because they're under anti-Semitic attack here in America. And man attacks Colorado crowd with fire bombs. 8 people injured. I don't know. Were people killed? I don't even know. There's a lot of conflicting reports, but thankfully, they're going to use this to take away more of our freedom. So be nice to an aardvark today.
Nobody was burned. They're all crisis actors. It's all fake. Just kidding.
I don't know. I think it probably was real. The guy's motives, was it really to protest the genocide in Gaza? I don't know. I don't think this is really going to help his cause out very much by attacking a group that's rallying to try to have their hostages free. That doesn't really jive too well, but that's the story we're being fed here. Ridiculous. Okay, so moving on from that, under the leadership of Trump and old Ice Barbie, dog killer Gnome, ICE is empowered to remove the worst of the worst from American communities. During Operation Patriot, ICE successfully detained and removed criminal illegal aliens from the sanctuary state of Massachusetts. Let's watch this short report. Operation Patriot, still not doing nearly enough, but they do love to hype the propaganda on Fox News.
And those that were arrested, 790 of them had criminal convictions, and 277 had what we were just talking about, final orders of removal or deportation. Tell us more.
No, and Dana, it was a great operation, and the fact that it was over the course of a month really shows the commitment of the men and women of ICE here in Massachusetts and all over New England. And we took a whole of government approach. We used all of our partners to include diplomatic security, the U.S. Marshal Service, ATF, FBI, DEA, to really locate and arrest these criminal aliens. One highlight for this operation is the fact that it was successful because we worked with our joint partners in a sanctuary state like Massachusetts, where it's extremely difficult. Where we had Operation Tidal Wave last month in Florida, there was a week-long operation working with our state partners. That's a state that cooperates with us. Here in Massachusetts, we don't have any cooperation from the local departments or from the state, which makes it extremely difficult for ICE to get out there and find these bad guys.
Why don't they go arrest the government, the local governments violating federal law? Well, they don't. Okay.
The bad guys, but what makes them a bad guy? Oh, well, he threw a cigarette out the window on the highway. He got detained, and he's in a detention in a black site somewhere in El Salvador. He's a bad guy.
Screaming free Palestine. Well, thankfully, we're seeing, I don't know if this is Palantir, but it's pretty damn scary, and I'd be willing to bet it probably is Palantir behind this. Today, the FDA launches Elsa, a generative AI tool designed to help employees from scientific reviewers to investigators work more efficiently. This innovative tool modernizes agency functions and leverages AI capability to better serve the American people. And we know from the earlier report that indeed Palantir is working with Health and Human Services. Let's hear the announcement about the new generative AI Elsa launched today by the FDA. Very exciting news. And by the way, don't ever forget, the scientific method is a conspiracy theory. And if you ever ask them to replicate their experiments, you're an insane person. Trust the science, damn it.
The FDA has launched a new AI tool agency-wide called Elsa to modernize how the agency functions. Following a very successful pilot program with our scientific reviewers, we announced a goal date of June 30th to implement the AI tool agency-wide. Today, we met that goal ahead of schedule and under budget, thanks to the willingness and collaboration of our in-house scientific leaders across the centers. The agency is using Elsa to expedite clinical protocol reviews and reduce the overall time to complete scientific reviews. One scientific reviewer told me what took him 2 to 3 days now takes 6 minutes. Some of the other ways the staff have already told me how they love using the AI tool include summarizing adverse events to support safety profile assessments, conducting expedited label comparisons, and generating code to facilitate the development of databases for non-clinical applications. We're also using AI to help inspectors identify high-yield inspection targets. One question I'm frequently asked is about the security of the tool. So I want to be clear. All information stays within the agency, and the AI models are not being trained on data submitted by the industry. Today's rollout of Elsa will be the first of many initiatives to come as the FDA leverages AI to rapidly transform how we do business to better serve you.
Exciting, isn't it?
So basically, they went from warp speed to ludicrous speed.
We're now in ludicrous speed, and if you want long-term safety data, then you go to a humanitarian quarantine camp for the healthy people now, and that's the way it's going to be here. And don't question anything they do or say as they rebuild public trust here now with much more efficient tools of Elsa, the AI generative system.
Why Elsa? Why does that sound familiar? I don't know.
Elsa is what is she? She's from that movie. She's a Disney princess from Frozen.
There you go.
And so Elsa in action, the FDA, let's put that on screen. They tell us a little bit more about it.
It probably stands for something because it always does. It's probably ELSA.
I don't know if I could suss out the acronym of it. Let's see. Here's their official announcement on their USDA.gov. Do they tell us what the acronym ELSA stands for? High Security Government Cloud Environment. Yeah, I'm not seeing where they tell us what the acronym ELSA stands for. But yeah, he covered all this. Perform faster label comparisons. So exciting. AI is taking over our government.
This is great news because I have just a whole crap ton of drugs that I wanted to bring to market, and this will help make the process faster, safer, and effective. Hallelujah.
Another government employee, not the bad guys we're looking for, that Trump promised they were all executed, I guess, in 2020, apparently. And these are all clones that we're seeing out there on the world stage of all these bad guys, according to the PSYOP Q nonsense. But USDA employee and 5 others charged in multi-million-dollar food stamp fraud and bribery scheme, the Department of Justice told us. So maybe this is something that came out of that DOGE. Perry Carbone, Attorney General, or a U.S. attorney, acting under blah, 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 all this. So USDA OIG special agent in charge said, we appreciate the collaboration with our law enforcement partners in pursuing allegations regarding government employees who use their positions to participate in schemes that exploit taxpayer-funded programs. So, according to the indictment, statements made in public court proceedings and filings and the evidence at the trial, the SNAP program uses federal tax dollars to help low-income households purchase food. SNAP recipients use EBT, electronic benefit transfer cards, similar to debit cards, to buy the food at participating stores. Starting in 2019, CAHO orchestrated, that's the main perpetrator here, orchestrated a network that supplied approximately 160 unauthorized EBT terminals to stores across the New York area to illegally process more than $30 million in EBT transactions. Working with his confidants, Neufel, I can't even pronounce these guys' names. They're all, I don't even know what they are. Anyway, here they are. I'm not even going to butcher their names. Submitted approximately 200 fraudulent USDA applications, misappropriating USDA license numbers, and in some cases doctoring application documents to obtain EBT terminals for unauthorized stores, including smoke shops and other ineligible businesses. Critical to the scheme was Ursula Davis, a longtime USDA employee who worked within the very division of the USDA responsible for identifying SNAP fraud. So there you go, inside job. Wouldn't you know where all this is? The phone calls coming from inside the house there, Ruckus.
At first, by the headline, I thought, like, man, you know, things are getting bad in the economy when they're bribing people with food stamps. That's actually a very clever operation. So I understand now what they were doing. So, like, because your SNAP card can only be authorized to make certain purchases in certain places for basically food. So these guys were helping cheat systems by setting it up at your local tobacco or alcohol store or the strip club, and then like, hey, can I pay for my lap dance with my Snap EBT card? You sure can, Jimmy. Yeehaw! Yeah, that's wild, man. That's pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah, and it came from inside the government. So finally, we see somebody in the government get in trouble for something.
Well, see, this wouldn't happen if they were using Palantir's Foundry. So problem solved.
Problem solved. We're going to crack down on these insiders stealing your SNAP benefits. That's for sure with Palantir. They'll even predict it ahead of time because they know that you have a criminal mind that are working. So
now I'm not supportive of criminal operations, but something that people don't think about or take into considerations is like if by like somebody waved a magic wand or the Thanos guy has his ring or his gauntlet or whatever, and he immediately makes all the illegal black operations, drug dealing, fencing operations, scammers, bribery, all of it stops. It goes away. That has a serious effect on the local economy. Just so you know.
It does. The black market. Yeah, the black market is under appreciated. So
yeah, we don't like that guy selling drugs on the corner, but he spends a lot of money at the hardware store, and that keeps Bob and Sue in business, and everybody's happy.
True. Some of the charges were one count of conspiracy to steal government funds. I thought there was no such thing as a conspiracy, but all these indictments are always charging people with conspiracy. That's a strange coincidence. And misappropriation of USDA benefits carries a maximum sentence of 5 years in prison. One count of theft of government funds, which carries a maximum of 10 years. And then there was another conspiracy. Oh, here's another conspiracy charge: conspiracy to commit bribery. They're also charged with the ringleader here. It looks like was this the inside woman, Ursula Davis, and so she's the lead conspirator in this scheme to steal unlicensed, essentially USDA.
This whole show is playing out like a Disney movie already. We had the Princess Elsa, she's the good one, and now we got the evil witch Ursula. Wow.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of them, and they'll probably throw the book at them as they should, but this is just one little example, and so it makes you wonder how much of this is going on. I would be willing to bet there's a big old conspiracy going on there in the government to steal your taxpayer-funded, benefit programs across the board, and so they finally got one, at least. Okay, let's take our live commercial break here. Every day's Pride Day at Weaponized News, and to celebrate this Pride Month, get yourself a holograph sticker with a rainbow on it there, you could see. And so we know that they're hurting for corporate sponsorship as the wokeness is wearing off, but you can support Pride every day of the year. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your guitar, your work locker, your Cybertruck, maybe. Get it vandalized and say it was because of Weaponized News and sue the hell out of them. Anyway, here's our holograph sticker. And shout out to, who do we have? Somebody bought some over the weekend. They're in the mail, by the way. And so we do appreciate that. I think it was Miss Smith. And so thank you, Miss Smith. Your stickers are in the mail, as they say. I mailed them out Saturday, so checks in the mail. Expected, I don't know, 3-4 days. Who knows? Maybe they'll get destroyed in the mail. But let me know when you get it. Here's the clear background sticker and the white background sticker for those not hip to the Pride Month celebration. Every day, all year long, with your holograph sticker. And let's go to our live. And by the way, Ruckus, sorry I haven't had a chance, but I do have the audio file that you redid, but I haven't had a chance to sync it to the video of the commercial. But that will be coming in the future. Here.
If you wait too long, I'm just going to make you a fresh video for it too, man.
Here is Abazaba Enterprises, a message from our sponsor.
Running a small business feeling overwhelmed by numbers and paperwork? Abazaba Enterprises has your back. Our expert business solutions include accounting, QuickBooks support, payroll, taxes, and top-notch consulting. Let us handle the details so you can focus on growing your business. Business Solutions Accounting, QuickBooks, Consulting, Payroll, Taxes. Call 559-577-9250. Call Abazaba Enterprises today at 559-577-9250.
And we're back. Plug away, Ruckus.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course. Check out my stuff at alternatecurrentradio.com. That's where you will find my daily ruckus stuff hosted up here. There's a menu, of course. You can find all the podcasts that we feature here. But that also includes my appearances on Boiler Room, Sunday Wire, and then I have a special spot on here for my recent appearances on Weaponized News. And then also I do make websites, do graphics, social media designs and stuff like that. So if you need somebody to help you out with that because you're a local small business, maybe you're a content creator, or you just want help with like making a nice, friendly magazine newsletter for your family who you haven't talked to in anything that you just don't know how to do it, or you want some help, you need to incorporate AI into your business or your life, hit me up. Send me an email. I do want everyone to know that's thewordslinger@hotmail.com, and it's like gunslinger but word, so thewordslinger@hotmail.com if you're looking for help with my my word slinging stuff. Okay, there you go.
All right, thank you, Ruckus, for that. All right, where are we going to now? Crazy one-off stories. I got a couple. I thought this was interesting over the weekend. How the Nazi top interrogator was hired to work at Disney theme parks. This is out of SF Gate. And so we do appreciate the Operation Paperclip Nazis that came over here after World War I. And they talk about this guy, what the heck's his name? German immigrant named Hans Schuroff. He's been living in the United States since he fled East Germany in 1948 to escape communists. And so, of course, we would take him in here and Disney would hire him. There he is right there. And so he's helping at Disney. We do appreciate the efforts to integrate Nazis into Disney here in America.
I'm in the skeptical column on that one. I'm going to have to, I would if I cared to do a little digging on that, but that just right out of the gate, no pun intended, considering the source, sounds like an AI wrote it and it's just imagined the whole thing. That sounds like an AI hallucination story, which then again, I mean, it is 2025, so maybe it's true.
Here's a picture of him with his Nazi uniform. Does this convince you enough?
I could recreate that using Grok, man. Come on.
That's SF Gate.
Totally reputable source all the way. They check their sources and everything, like all places do.
And these are fake news. They have the fact checkers on their side, so don't question them. All right. Okay. What else? Oh, we got this one. Bates, our former doctor during the medical intervention period, Bill Gates to give most of his $200 billion fortune to Africa. And when we know he's a devout racist eugenicist, And so, of course, this is going to be used to further terminate little black babies there in Africa while posing as an altruistic philanthropist. And so we can expect Africa to be experimented on extensively with this $200 billion gift from Bill Gates.
And they said money can't buy happiness.
I don't know how this guy gets away with it, but I guess when you're that rich, you get away with whatever you want. So yeah, thankfully he's giving Africa $200 billion over the next 20 years. And of course, it's not for eugenics, sterilization, depopulation programs whatsoever. It's to, of course, help them develop and increase their public health.
All that money, and he still couldn't get away with a cheap divorce. Oh. That chick got a lot of money off of him anyway.
Like half. Yeah.
And she just, boop, Vomanus gone. Where's she been? You don't hear her anymore. Weird. And then suddenly Kevin Kline, the actor, popped back up. I'm just kidding.
Well, she did divorce him over reports of an affair and sexual harassment of his employees. And when we learned that news, it wasn't his eugenicist depopulation ways that turned us off from having him as our official doctor during the medical intervention. It was the fact that he cheated on his wife, and that was just too much for me to take. I could no longer take medical advice from Bill Gates after that.
And lots of stories like to point out, I don't know how true it is, but they say like they couldn't take it anymore, that his friendship with Jeffrey, you know who. Yep. That
was a very public scandal there, but I'm sure it was perfectly fine. They were only running eugenics experiments there at his, Zorro Ranch in New Mexico. And
it's all good.
It's all good. It's all good. So that was even too much publicity for Melinda, apparently, to take. Okay, moving on from Bill Gates, we appreciate his efforts to depopulate Africa there. On to geopolitical international news. This Mount Etna, it erupted, and so it owes Bill Gates and the rest of the climate change crew a whole lot of carbon tax. And so we had this eruption of a volcano there in Italy earlier today, or late yesterday. Some photos show volcano sending ash into the air. Think of all this CO2 it's emitting, this volcano right here. Look at all that CO2. It owes a whole lot of carbon tax right here. And again, pointing out that all of their carbon sequestration mitigation efforts all just went up in smoke there, to show you again what a fraud scam it all is. Every time a volcano erupts, it does away with all your mitigation efforts on the CO2 right there. Let's watch this short video. So there you go. Pay your carbon tax as it's emitting unknown amounts of CO2 right there. Say volcano erupts as shocked tourists watch from the resort. Why are you shocked? It's a volcano. That happens. I don't know. That's the headline out of Viral Press. Are you really shocked? So there it was, very exciting.
That looked fake. I think that's fake news too.
Is that fake too?
It's not. No volcanoes died. They're all crisis volcanoes.
These volcanoes are all on the payroll of the intelligence agencies. Let's watch another video of it. I had seen some other video that showed the lava. Anyway, I don't have that video.
See, yeah, no, that's the same video. See, they do this all the time. That's a video from 5 years ago in a different location, and they put it there. And then if you pay very close attention at the top of the volcano, there's like a dummy, and he's got his arms sticking out. Oh, never mind. That might be something else.
Okay, Trump. I didn't see any reports of anyone injured by it or anything like that. Just the CO2 emitted into the now. Of course, we have global warming coming into the summer, and so bad volcano there in Italy.
They'll 3 years from now they'll say, well, the reason it's so hot is because remember 3 years ago that volcano.
They'll never admit it. They'll never admit it was actually a volcano and not part of the Earth's natural processes. It's man-made. It's mine and your fault, Ruckus. Okay, on to a little bit. It looks like it's being reported that Taco Trump here. Trump always chickens out. It's coming to. It looks like it's coming true. He's put a further pause now on tariffs on China, rolling it back to, I think I saw a report to September here now. And so Taco Trump always chickens out. Trump and China's Xi will likely talk very soon, the White House says. And so Trump's chickening out, trying to figure out what to do, pausing the tariffs even further in his failed trade policies here now. Poland got a new president, and so it was back and forth here. Both candidates had declared themselves as winners, but it turns out Karol Nawrocki, I like his name, Nawrocki, Nawrocki. He's, I guess, officially been declared the winner there in Poland. Trump-backed nationalist candidate Karol Nawrocki wins Poland's presidential election with 51.16% of the votes. Thankfully, they use the electronic voting machines, and so it's the most secure election in world history. I added that part, but there's the official results. Let me take that off so everybody can see if you were so concerned about the Polish election there. And so he barely squeaked out a win. But further, it turns out that he's an anti-EU Holocaust revisionist, the Aardvarks Times tells us. And so that's quite horrific indeed. Anything to smear you. And so they did indeed smear him there.
At least that name we can pronounce or pretend to pronounce. The other person that was under him, I was like, I don't know how to say that other name.
Who's this other guy? Yeah. Tarzaskowski. Here, let's put that back up.
Not going to work here anymore.
Yeah, he didn't make it. Ralfel Trzaskowski. Yeah, well, he lost. So, and he was a big Holocaust fan as well. So, he's not going to make it around the old Polish government. Okay, that happened over the weekend. British Prime Minister Starmer says Britain is moving to a war-fighting readiness position. And so we're seeing NATO, UK, United States, maybe not United States so much, but the rest of them really saber-rattling and really happy and excited about this most recent Operation Spider's Web launched, like a day and a half ago against Russia by Ukraine, a giant drone attack. Let's hear from Starmer in the background, readying the war footing of the UK.
And today, following through on this review, I want to set out 3 fundamental changes that we're going to deliver. First, we are moving to warfighting readiness as the central purpose of our armed forces. When we are being directly threatened by states with advanced military forces, the most effective way to deter them is to be ready. And frankly, to show them that we're ready, to deliver peace through strength. Now, Britain has the finest servicemen and women in the world. We're showing them the respect that they deserve by delivering the biggest armed forces pay rise in 20 years, and by pledging today that we will end the hollowing out of our armed forces. We'll build a fighting force that is more integrated, more ready, more lethal than ever, backed by a stronger strategic reserve, fully trained and ready to mobilize at any time. Second, everything we do will add to the strength of NATO. As we step up to take greater responsibility for our collective defense, the NATO alliance means something profound, that we will never fight alone.
They're gearing up, man, for Russia. It's not looking good, as there were peace talks today. They still went through the peace talks. Ukraine launches drone strike on Russian air bases. U.S. claims ignorance of attack. So that's the official line. Merca, we don't know nothing about it. It was all that evil, democratically unelected president of Ukraine, Zelensky. We know nothing about it, the official story says. And so major Ukrainian FPV drone swarm hits Russian Air Force bases. It's being dubbed by Ukraine Operation Spider's Web. I'm sure you saw this over the weekend, Ruckus. What's your take on this? America had nothing to do with it.
Peaceful, very peaceful. I mean, peace through strength. I mean, that was a show of strength on the part of Ukraine. So it just means that they want peace. It means that doesn't mean that they want war or destruction. Like, I've never understood this peace through strength garbage. Nothing says, oh, we want nothing but peace. Like, we're going to kick your effing ass if you come over here because we're the strongest guy bully on the block. Yeah, look at our guns. We're peace. We mean you no harm. Yeah, sure. Somebody who means you no harm doesn't have all that stuff. Doesn't need to puff up their chest like that. It's ridiculous. And then, like, on the other side of the pond here in America, I just saw Hegseth talking somewhere up about the fact that because that other guy there was saying peace through strength or whatever. Hegseth was saying that it's our goal to prevent war and all that stuff. And I'm just like, wow. So how's that going to work? Aren't we part of NATO too? I mean, come on.
Over 40 Russian warplanes were reportedly damaged or destroyed, including strategic bombers. Several aircraft were seen engulfed in flames, and early estimates suggest that the cost of the loss of military equipment is somewhere around $2 billion in losses for Russia. So
I'm sure they won't mind. They're pretty cool about it. Calm and collected. You know Putin. I mean, he's always said, if they do X, Y, and Z, I'm totally cool with it. Everything's fine. I'm not going to push the button. Isn't that what he said? No, wait a minute.
He said keep...
This is great news because, because Russia has been we hear about it in the news all the time. They send all these fancy bombers and airplanes over to Ukraine and just bomb the crap out of people all day, every day. It's a huge thing. So thank God that finally stopped, thanks to what Ukraine just did. So hallelujah. Oh, wait a minute. I guess they weren't doing that anyways. Weird.
This is a hell of a way to kick off your peace talks. This is a major, they're what are they dubbing it? Russia's Pearl Harbor. I saw some reports dubbing it that. And this report out of American propaganda outlet Newsweek says they're estimating $7 billion in damage. The other report said $2 billion. Who knows what the real damage is?
A lot of rubles.
It's a lot. So the Russian Pearl Harbor, they're on the eve of peace talks there in Istanbul, Turkey. Operation Spiderweb, how Ukraine destroyed over a third of Russian bombers. That's being reported out of Euronews. I don't know if we can believe any of this, as we should be very skeptical of the successes being reported out of the West by Ukraine in the Russia-Ukraine war here now.
Why don't they take out the equipment that's been kicking their ass up to this point? Because it wasn't the bombers, just that's what I'm saying here. It doesn't make any sense. This is just provocation is what this is.
A day before the peace talks were to kick off.
No strategy to this whatsoever with the current conflict. I'm being honest. It's wild.
I saw some reports, and I don't think I've seen them confirmed, that drones hit a Russian nuclear submarine. And as always, with all these attacks, there's so much disinformation that comes out be careful what you believe out there, or you may be believing the ghost Kiev. And I still have this from the beginning of the war there, this patch right here. And so the ghost of Kiev, never forget. That guy took out like...
Isn't it true that the ghost of Kiev would shout out, "Free Palestine"?
That was part of his whole stick there for Ukrainian independence and freedom. Here is the White House take on it from Barbie spokeswoman Levitt today. Let's hear what she had to say about this whole situation. America, we knew nothing about any of this.
But as for how the president feels about those talks and what took place there, I'll let him speak on that.
What's the president's reaction to that Ukrainian drone attack, stunning drone attack on Russian air bases? I'm sure he saw that. What's his reaction?
Well, look, the reaction is this war needs to come to an end. And this war has been brutal from both sides. Too many people have died. And the president wants this war to end at the negotiating table. And he's made that very clear to both leaders, both publicly and privately.
I got to say, that's my position, too. I want the war to end there as well. America knew nothing about it. Allegedly, that's what the reports say. Okay, so there was peace talks after this. Russia and Ukraine met up in Istanbul. And according to report out of Axios, Russia handed Ukraine a peace memo outlining its ceasefire terms and conditions for ending the war. No breakthroughs were reported. But let's see, who do we got? Oh, RT. They were there. They're Russian, of course, disinformation. We have to disclose that. But here's their report about the peace memorandum. And then we do have the documents published.
Вот так выглядит меморандум, который был передан украинской стороне. Это копия Владимира Мединского.
Sorry about that. It's in, we do have subtitles there in English.
Точно такая же вторая копия была отдана Рустему Умерову. Здесь несколько частей, несколько разделов. Все это вы уже прочитали в артикле на русском. Здесь условия прекращения огня, условия мира. 3 раздела. Если вы хотите мир, вот вам пункты. Украинская сторона этот меморандум получила и отправилась его сейчас и изучать. Вот так.
And so, of course, Putin, the most evil man in the world, and they'll say, we don't know what Russia wants to stop this war. And they're like, here's the peace memo that they sent to you. And they're like, we just don't understand what it takes to stop this war.
Study it because, like, what the heck, bro? It can't be that hard, right?
Well, here it is, a big old list of demands from Russia. We can go over a couple. They want, well, number one, international legal recognition of the incorporation into the Russian Federation of Crimea. So they want that land. Neutrality of Ukraine, implying its refusal to join military alliances. They don't want Ukraine and NATO, obviously. And NATO says that they're come on in, basically. They're trying to figure out how to get NATO into Ukraine or Ukraine into NATO. And it goes on, a bunch of stuff. And they'll be like, we don't know what Russia's demands are. And they're like, here's their demands for a ceasefire. And they're like, no, we don't know. So, again, go to Weaponized News.
We need to feed it into I'll sign up and we'll use Palantir's Foundry, right? And we'll feed into the language learning model the peace memo, and then we'll provide the little chat bot application. They can download it on their phone, and Ukraine can study it with the help of their AI. See, and we'll have to come up with a clever name for it. It'll have to be a Disney themed thing, maybe like Aladdin. Yeah, I like Aladdin. There you go. That's probably already being used.
So in the daring attack, Operation Spiderwebs, it was likely 117 drones were smuggled via trucks, targeted 5 bases, damaging 40 some odd strategic Russian bombers. The evidence suggests that this operation was planned for 18 months and supervised by President Zelensky with significant strategic impact in mind.
Well, the guy acts fast, don't you know? I mean, he's a...
This is the biggest military operation ever, and your warmongering press out there are giddy about it.
Totally believe this was all Zelensky's idea, that he sat around doing this, planning this for 18 months. Yeah, sure. Yeah, this is ridiculous. Clearly, somebody was involved here.
Not U.S. intelligence, that's for sure.
No, obviously not. I mean, I mean, it's whoever came out right away and said it wasn't us. That's usually who did it.
It was America.
Now there you go.
So that went on. It's bad. It's an escalation, but as we say, but they had a peace talk today, and reports are we don't have a ceasefire or peace, but they didn't shoot each other at the peace talk. So I mean, that's like where we're at here now. And celebrating Pride Month here, thankfully, the thumbnail of the show, City of Kiev here, is celebrating Pride Month, as we see America take a step back in our corporate sponsorship for the Pride Month. Old Kiev stepping up the woke game there. And so, of course, we're giddy with their drone attack on the evil Russians right before peace talks. So they celebrated there in Kiev with changing the official city logo to the pride flag. Isn't that just wonderful?
Well, to be fair, they just put it against the backdrop of a pride flag. It's not like they gave the guy like a wig and some makeup and like some bunny ears or something. Maybe they could have done. They could have flared it up a little bit or something.
They could have, but this is what we get out of Ukraine.
It's pretty hard to depict in a cartoon image like that of what we usually see happening here during Pride Month. But we wouldn't want to do that because we couldn't show it on air.
So
go outside if you want to see that stuff, but beware, there might be anti-Semitic flamethrowers aimed your way.
The CIA's come out and they've let us know, due to the new transparent MAGA Trump government, the CIA has expanded its official presence on X. Here's their post. Make sure to follow the official CIA accounts for the latest agency news and updates. And so you should follow your CIA director there, John Ratcliffe, for all your updated spy news. And of course, we can trust them like old VP Nelson Rockefeller did in 1975 and say that there's no pattern of illegal activities at the CIA. And so we do appreciate their public presence there on the X. Go ahead and
this explains everything. I was wondering why, like, I woke up today and I'm like, why do I have like 5,000 new followers?
CIA has expanded its official presence on X. But what about the unofficial presence on X? We know they have deep intelligence operations on all of the interwebs, especially your social media, to social engineer. And
they took a backseat from that a long time ago. It was right around the time this company called Palantir came up.
The one and the same. Palantir is a CIA cutout company. So it's
well, hey, now that sounds like a conspiracy theory or an explanation for another time.
No, I think it's on record. That's like where they got a big chunk of their seed money. But yeah, it's like conspiracy.
All of these tech companies, bro. It's like, what do all of them have in common? What could it be?
Well, where the
adjust my tinfoil hat here a little bit. Oh, I see it now.
The internet came from
DARPA.
No, Al Gore, right?
Oh, that's right. Thank you.
No, it was actually DARPA. So they gave us this giant spy program. No one has
Facebook.
No one has the internet, and then of course expanded it and are paring it down to now they're deep up in your Social Security, your medical, your bank, everything that you could ever want, and then you can check in on your Facebook. I'm at In-N-Out Burger or wherever, and then you give them up to date so they know exactly where to send the terminators when your time comes. So it's We're
Except
helping
now
them
your
out.
phone does that automatically without your knowledge or your permission every time you walk into a store or walk right down the street underneath the 5G towers everywhere. It's crazy, man. Why do you think they call it the World Wide Web? Yeah, because you're walking around and you're just sending all these signals along the web for the spider to come find you and eat you. Yay.
It's a tracking device, indeed, your phone. Okay. We have a new former German foreign minister, Annalena Baerbock, elected as new president of the UN General Assembly. And so some would say they did not see this coming, but I think we can look forward to having a very NATO UN here now, and more hate against Russia, which we all love and enjoy. There with the former German foreign minister heading up the UN General Assembly.
But how does she feel about Chinese biolabs?
She loves them. Okay, that happened. That happened. Okay.
And just so many new people, presidents and heads of operations. It's going to be very tricky for me to keep track of all this now.
The update, we got to keep track of the new tyrants.
I keep forgetting about Keir Starmer, and I'm like, he's like the new something somewhere. I forgot already. See, it's happening so quick.
He's the new warmongering tyrant posing as a liberal. I guess liberals are not anti-war. What do you know? I thought liberals used to be anti-war. Apparently, there's a sliver of them, but the majority mainstream liberal now is 100% pro-war. Crazy.
Hell, everybody's pro-war now, man.
Everybody's pro-war now that Palantir took over everything because we got to get that stock price up, don't we? Okay. Over the last 24 hours, aardvark forces have killed 51 Palestinians in Gaza, but I'm sure they were all Hamas or 6 degrees separated from Hamas, so it's perfectly reasonable and understandable why they would need to kill 51 Palestinians in their efforts to go ahead and ethnically cleanse the area.
And I'm sure the underage ones were going to grow up to be Hamas or painters or musicians or doctors or, well, nothing now, sad to say. Jeez.
But Houthis military spokesman confirms ballistic missile attack on aardvarks. Let's watch this. So the Houthis, I'm waiting for them to wipe out that million-man march here now.
انتصارا لمظلوميات الشعب الفلسطيني ومجاهديه وردا على جرائم الإبادة والتجويع في غزة وانتهاكات المجرمين الصهاينة بتدنيس المسجد الأقصى. نفذت القوة الصاروخية في القوات المسلحة اليمنية عملية عسكرية استهدفت مطار اللد في منطقة يافا المحتلة، وذلك بصاروخ باليستي نوع ذي الفقار، وقد حققت العملية هدفها بنجاح بفضل الله، وأجبرت 4 ملايين صهيوني على الهروب إلى الملاجئ ووقف حركة الملاحة في
So we don't know why, even though they tell us why they're launching the missiles, it's because they're terrorists, obviously, but they do tell us it's in response to crimes of genocide and starvation in Gaza, but somehow we act like we just don't understand what their motive is for doing this. They're just mean to aardvarks.
We don't speak their language, and not everybody can read subtitles. That guy was really intense, though. Like everything, I was like straining. I have to move my windows around on my screen here to read the subtitles. So I'm like, what is he saying? And I scroll it down. I'm like, oh, he's just like, it's just a commercial for Burger King. Settle down. Like, oh, he could be saying anything. He was just really intense. It was interesting.
He's intense. They're launching these ballistic missiles, allegedly. Aardvarks are shooting them down, and with their iron beam laser system. So,
sure.
But it is, whether it hits the target or not, it is causing terror as air sirens go off and cause.
But is it targeted terror? No.
It was, and he didn't scream "Free Palestine" either. So, I guess he's okay. Here's Harvard back here in America. Trump administration is at war with Harvard, apparently. Harvard stands with Palestine, and so they should all be arrested and deported. Let's watch this video of students at the Harvard graduation.
وهي ما بدها خاتم ولا بهواها خاتم بدها علم فلسطيني يرفرف على المحاكم هي ما بدها هدية ولا بهواها هدية بدها علم فلسطيني يرفرف على المسكوبية وأنا ما بدي حطة ولا بهواي حطة بدي علم فلسطيني يرفرف عسيج شطة أنا ما بدي زفة ولا بهواي زفة بدي تبطل فلسطين محصورة بأرض الضفة وهي ما بدها ذهب ولا بهواها ذهب بدها علم فلسطيني يرفرف عسيج.
I had no idea that many terrorists lived in America. That's scary, bro. Look at them going to school and stuff. Wow. It's wild.
Harvard, nonetheless, like used to be, the most prestigious university in America here now is now teaching up these damn terrorists.
It's a foundry.
It's a foundry for terrorists. But thankfully, we have Rabbi Shmuley to save America, and here he is in New York City as he marches in the Pride Parade. Let's watch all.
Do we have to? I'm not doing this one. I'm not watching.
And
you have got to be kidding me. I'm not going to say it. I almost said it. Holy wow. Please tell me that that was fake news. That had to have been fake AI. There's no effing way.
This is him. He's probably.
Oh, my God. Wow.
That's your favorite rabbi and mine, Shmuley, there at New York Pride Parade. And so, yeah. The guy's an obvious provocateur, and he does very provocative videos to make you say, I hate aardvarks because of this guy. He knows what he's doing. He's a subversive agent.
Not forget the one thing where he did with the little, he's wearing the shirt and he's wearing the nose and he's I'm drinking the blood of the, yeah, ridiculous.
And so this guy's a subversive agent stoking anti-Semitism, literally. That's his job, and you could see
Plus, he owns a company selling butt plugs, so I guess he's probably just marketing. That's all it is. He's just trying to, he's hanging out with probably a vast majority of his customers is what it is.
He is target marketing his products. More power
now
to
that's
him.
Targeted terror right there.
More power to him in the free market of America. But yeah, make no mistake, this guy's an agent provocateur stoking anti-Semitism. One of the biggest. There's no neo-Nazi that can do more damage to the aardvarks than old Rabbi Shmuley here now. So he's doing.
So here's a question for the Zionist MAGA crowd, that get all like butthurt about the sorry, I shouldn't be using that word, but about upset about the pride parades where the dude has got his stuff hanging out everywhere and like the kids are walking on the sidewalk and he's like, check it out, and they're like, oh, but if it was Rabbi Shmuley doing that exact same thing, if that dude right there was in that parade, stripped down to his nothing, and he's just got it all hanging out, and there's kids walking by, can you say, hey, put some clothes on, or is that anti-Semitic?
That would be anti-Semitic, and so you don't question.
What a weird place we've gotten to.
It is.
What if Rabbi Shmuley wants to sell trans bathing suits? Is that cool? And if you have a problem with it and you want to boycott Target, is that anti-Semitic? Oh, geez. Wow. Slippery slopes everywhere, folks. That's right. Look what you did. Way to go.
Let's hear from former spokesperson for the United States Department of State, Matt Miller. We played many of his press conferences regarding foreign wars, specifically Aardvark land. And he finally admits, without a doubt, that Aardvark land is committing war crimes. He was asked like on a daily basis, and he always had that shit-eating grin on his face, like he knows what's going on there, but he can't say it publicly at the State Department press conference. But here he is now. Let's hear more confirmation of what we already know from Matt Miller. Is that his name, Matt Miller? Yeah, that's his name, right? Matt Miller, yeah. I want to make sure I got his name right.
Do you think what's going on in Gaza now is a genocide?
I don't think it's a genocide, but I think I think it is without a doubt true that Israel has committed war crimes.
You wouldn't have said that at the podium.
Yeah, look, because when you're at the podium, you're not expressing your personal opinion. You're expressing the conclusions of the United States government. The United States government had not concluded that they've committed war crimes. Still have not concluded that.
But your personal view is they have.
Well, so
and they were while you were there.
But yes. But here, let me qualify that. There are two ways to think about the commission of war crimes. One is if the state has pursued a policy to deliberately committing war crimes or is acting reckless in a way that aids and abets war crimes, if the state is committing war crimes, and that I think is an open question. I think what is almost certainly not an open question is that there have been individual incidents that have been war crimes where Israeli soldiers, members of the Israeli military, have committed war crimes. And we do know that Israel has opened investigations, but look, we are many months into those investigations and we're not seeing Israeli soldiers held accountable. So ultimately, in almost every major conflict, including conflicts prosecuted by democracies, you will see individual members of the militaries commit war crimes. And the way you judge a democracy is whether they hold those people accountable.
But Israel hasn't.
That's my point,
right.
Is we have not yet seen them hold sufficient numbers of the military accountable, and I think it's an open question whether they're going to.
So Matt Miller's now an anti-Semite.
That's a garbage take.
Quite horrific indeed there. Okay, so maybe we're not going to, it's on again, off again. Reports of aardvarks amassing troops preparing for a strike on Iran. Apparently, Trump's not ready to go there yet. Out of Axios, U.S. nuclear deal offer allows Iran to enrich uranium. The U.S. has proposed a new deal to Iran that would allow limited low-level uranium enrichment with heavy restrictions and for an unspecified time frame. According to Axios, under the proposal, Iran must halt the development of new centrifuges, dismantle key nuclear sites, and cap enrichment strictly for civilian use. Underground facilities would be shut down temporarily and enrichment levels reduced to 3%. Strict IAEA monitoring, that's the UN nuke monitors, monitoring is back into the deal, and any sanctions relief would hinge on Iran proving its real commitment as judged by Washington and the UN. So there you go. Seems good, but hell, I said it seems good last week that they're having Ukraine peace deals, and we saw the biggest attack ever, right? Ukraine-Russia peace deals. So who freaking knows? But it sounds good that we're not going to go bomb Iran right now. I don't know. We could bomb. We could be bombing them right now.
Has anyone seen sufficient enough evidence that Iran was pursuing enriching uranium and all this nuclear program stuff, or is that just like stuff that they feed to us in the propaganda? I mean, do they lie about these things? And now we're going to go ahead and give them all the tools that they need to actually create one now, and then, you know, lead up to the big thing. I mean, it's like they're like, well, shoot, we can't kick off this war with Iran. Why not? Because they don't really have any nukes. But you keep telling everybody they got nukes. Well, what are we going to do? Well, let's give them nukes. Brilliant. Problem solved.
We let them out of the program. 30 Iranians cheated, and they made nukes. Now we got to bomb them. A perfect setup.
And then it's not the state. Well, in that case, it would be the entire state of Iran. Unlike with Israel, because Israel, the country, the whole government was not committing war crimes. It was just individual soldiers. Those individual soldiers who were starving. Tens of thousands of people did that. It's just individual people doing that kind of stuff. But in the case of Iran, if one bad actor decides to sneak out a piece of enriched uranium and create a suitcase nuke and set it off in the middle of, say, New York City, just for an example, which is the plot in many movies, television episodes, and books, which is weird. And it's always Iran, too. Weird. Look that up. Then, yeah, it's not the individual's fault. Clearly, Iran did that. See, weird. War crimes.
Did I just hear you say free Palestine?
Sorry, I meant to. Oh, by the way, I meant to point this out. I figured out how we bypass the system. You can't say free Palestine, but there was the one student that had the sign that said Palestine free. Ah, see, you're safe.
There you go. Code Pink protesters interrupt Secretary of Navy and Palantir's head of defense at a talk. Palantir kills in Gaza, surveils at home. Let's watch this short clip. Where was this at? Some security conference. National Security Forum.
And bring about a more adaptable culture. Hey, Gio.
Yeah.
Gio. Behind me.
All right. How wonderful, Mr. Secretary, to live in a country where people are allowed to speak their mind, ask questions of their governments, because in fact, the adversaries we're up against, whether they're the genocidal communists in Beijing or the Salafi jihadists in the Middle East, don't allow such luxuries of their own citizens. So apologies for the interruption.
There you go, America, right? They know what's up. They said Palantir.
That was crazy. They were all struggling for quite a long time to just remove the sign or to hide the sign and not the person. I was like, you're going about this wrong. You guys have more than enough people right there to just drag the person away. But instead, they were all fighting over the sign. That was the dumbest thing I think I've seen in a long time, man.
That's why we trust them with our national security. That was at the National Security Forum. And indeed, Palantir kills in Gaza, surveils at home. The protester was chanting there. Indeed.
They're treating the words on that sign as though they were a loaded gun. They were like, we got to get the weapon out of their hand before we take out the, like crazy. I mean, is that damaging to have that statement on national television? What does that tell you? Because we've probably seen these types of comments all the time on our own feeds and in our own circles. But that's how tightly controlled. We're stuck in an echo chamber. The rest of the world has no idea. They're just sleeping. They're sleepwalking. They go to work every day. They got their school, their kids, their lives. A lot of people don't have a damn clue, and you have to do these things. You have to get it on the big screen like that. That's why it's so. And these people, they know, like, we can't have that up there. That's why it was more important for. I'm surprised they didn't just cut the video feed or whatever. Or why did we get to see that at all? Who knows? It's wild.
It was on C-SPAN.
There you go. And dude, high ratings on that program. Yeah. Like, lots and lots of people tune into that all the time. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, nobody even knows or cares who Palantir is. We don't show much war footage, but this is there's no blood and guts really, but it shows the shock wave from an aardvark airstrike in Gaza. You can see the shock wave here from this. Got those damn Hamas.
I felt that one.
So yeah, it's alleged that the people trying to get the Palestinians that are trying to get supplies are being killed when they go to get their supplies. We cannot approach the U.S. aid distribution point. It's a death trap. I guess we should watch this report. Aid is being used as a weapon to kill the population, one says here.
Hunger and fear. Palestinians in Gaza say going to new food distribution sites comes with the risk of death. Here, they wait at a community kitchen, seeking safety and a reprieve from hunger.
This is famine, parallel to the genocide war we are living. We are being starved to death by the Israeli military. This is not a fair fight anymore. Aid is used as a weapon to kill the population. We cannot feed our children. We stand in line for hours to get a handful of rice or a loaf of bread. We cannot approach the US aid distribution post. The Israeli drones open fire and drop bombs on us. It is a death trap.
The U.S. and Israeli-backed Gaza Humanitarian Foundation was meant to replace the long-established UN system for aid distribution. The new scheme has been widely criticized by NGOs and human rights groups for weaponizing aid.
Palestinians in Gaza are starving to death. There is nothing left for us here to eat. The US aid is a big lie. Border crossings are closed. We are besieged and reeling under ruthless bombardment. What is the world waiting for? If we are not killed, we would starve to death.
For the injured who escaped death in Sunday's massacre, recovery at hospital awaits. But hunger stalks them even there.
We're suffering greatly from a blood shortage. We frequently appeal to people to donate blood, but when the donors arrive, we find that most of these young men are suffering from anemia. It's due to the starvation war waged by the Israeli occupation against our Palestinian people and the malnutrition and immunodeficiency that most age groups in the Gaza Strip suffer from.
Negotiations on a ceasefire continue. But until the bombs stop and aid is allowed in freely and delivered safely and in sufficient amounts, widespread famine in Gaza continues to be a real threat. Wilson dies.
Al Jazeera reporting there. We had Cindy McCain working at the World Food Program there at the UN, saying that indeed this is happening. I don't know. It's Cindy McCain, John McCain's widow. Maybe, I guess she's an anti-aardvark now too. You know what I mean? So I don't know how much confirmation, because of course the other side, oh, it's all made up, it's lying, they're just lying. Well, I guess Cindy McCain's part of the propaganda and lies for the Palestinians now, right?
They're all crisis actors.
They're all crisis. Cindy McCain is indeed somehow, I guess she got brainwashed by Harvard students. Okay, to wrap up the show here, Greta Thunberg, climate activist, she joins an aid ship sailing to Gaza. Will she be droned? What's going to go on here with old Greta going on to try to aid in the siege there in Gaza? Think they'll drone her?
I think it's not going to end well for her if she tries to stage an arrest. Because, yeah, wow. Yeah, I don't know. Not very safe for Greta to be doing this. It is what it is, though. I saw some truly heartless, clearly Zionist folks on social media making cracks and jokes and implications about how terrible it would be if something happened to Greta out there and got like what the heck is wrong, people? We don't want anybody to get hurt or killed This is ridiculous. This is why we have a problem, because people see these pictures of people like, women and children and babies starving to death, being blown up, missing heads and limbs, and it's terrible. And it's the kind of stuff that you used to watch on TV when Sally Struthers would come on. It's like, for less than the cup of coffee a day, you can feed a starving child. And the pictures you would see of those starving kids were like, that was kindergarten, Sesame Street, compared to some of the images I've seen of some of these starving kids and these kids with their limbs blown off. But, where's the humanity in this? And so, there's a few handful of us who are human, and we're scarred by these things, and we want to say, hey, end the genocide. And now we have to fight and deal with the fact that now somebody wants to label us as being hateful, hurtful terrorists, anti-Semitic, because we want to end genocide. That does not mean we want to start or wage genocide on the other side. We want it to stop on all sides. That's you say this all the time, Sam. That's where we stand.
Here's Lindsey Graham's reply.
There's a person who disagrees with everything I just said.
He says, hope Greta and her friends can swim. So.
Holy smokes. See what I mean? You have got to be a genuinely inhuman psychopath. I don't care who you are or who you're making this. This is stupid. How would Lindsey Graham feel if she literally fell off a boat and died and drowned? How does that tweet look, Mr. Graham? Think about that. They'll tell the kid, you should think before you tweet. Yeah, y'all should think before you tweet. Seriously, take that to heart. I'll leave it there.
These politicians are out of control, man. Out of control.
Role models, everybody.
Role models. They're supposed to be professionals serving in our government. They tell us they're humble civil servants, right? But they're out here just laughing about war, like it's making jokes about it. And it's like, wow, that's very professional. Either a congressman or senator. Wow. No, they're just completely out of line, complete maniacs. All fake. I guess, like you say, Ruckus, there's a faction out there that cheer this stuff on. Yeah. Take out Greta when she's trying to do something. It looks like she's on the right side of this issue, at least.
Oh, kill them all. Let God sort them out kind of attitude again. It's pretty wild.
Yeah. I'm telling you. They'll turn it all on you in a dime in a second, but people don't want to see it. As long as your side's winning. And everything's okay. All right, that's all we got for today. Let's go to the channel. Reminder, go to Weaponized News Substack, and links to everything we talked about will be there. And if you want to do further research, the links will be there to start your journey down the rabbit hole of tyranny that we cover here every day or 5 days a week. Okay, over to the Odysee, we have Huffman and we have Mountain Mama in the chat there. Thank you guys. A little bit of chat going on there. There's no way it took 18 months to coordinate a few drones. Well, I don't know. That's what they reported. Zelensky was a military mastermind that could have only pulled it off without 18 months of preparation and no help from American intelligence. That's the story, and we're sticking to it. Okay. Thank you guys for tuning in on the Odysee. On the Rumble, we couldn't integrate it to the stream, but I do see the chat there. We couldn't integrate the chat. It's like I don't know what's the deal, but you gave me an error, so I was like, I got to do it old school way and just make sure the stream goes out. So anyway, that's why I haven't been able to see your guys' comments, but I do appreciate it there. Chloe, Karen, Denver, Gunther. Thank you guys for keeping that chat lively on the Rumble. See if we could pick out anything besides cussing on there. No.
Chloe says I look dapper, I believe. Thank you, Chloe.
Thank you, Chloe. Taco Dawn is an awesome name for a Mexican fast food place like Del Taco or Taco Bell competitor. Taco Dawn. Trump always chickens out. And then have Trump chicken tacos.
And I see it now. It'd be like a mafia theme. It'd be like, I'm the Taco Don.
What else do we got? Ruckus, if it's Ukraine, Snow White. We were talking about the Disney princesses. Yeah, something's up with that. Let's see. Great chat there, back and forth. Some links. Matt Miller. Everybody loves Matt Miller, right? It's funny how when they get out of office, it's like, well, if you were really doing your duty, you would have told us the truth then, not just fed us this line that everybody knew is a line of BS. So, oh, we all knew that Biden wasn't fit for duty. Well, why did you guys act like he was? And now you're legitimate telling us after the fact when it's already too late? It's like, no, you guys are all ridiculous frauds. And that they should be called out as that instead of they're praised. Oh, they have the courage to come out and tell the truth now. It's like, it doesn't matter now. It's just all so fake. Anyway, thank you guys for tuning in on the Rumble. Appreciate the chat there, very lively. For those on the interweb channels, the most lively chat for the live stream is on the Rumble channel for those that want to banter about. So we do appreciate you guys keeping the chat lively. And thank you for tuning in on Rumble. The Bitchute channel there. Let's see who, if anybody, is on Bitchute. There's usually a few people on the Bitchute. Thank you guys for tuning in on Bitchute. We appreciate it. The Facebook, is there anybody on Facebook? One? Well, shout out to you. It's funny, it always says like one, and then I go and look. Who knows what the count is on Facebook? They rig all the data. I'll go and look. It'll say like 30, and then I look right here, live one. Like, who knows? Are any of these numbers real? Is anybody even watching on the interwebs? Who knows? But if you are, thank you for tuning in on the Facebook. The YouTube, I did see a few comments there come through. Thank you guys for tuning in on the YouTube and Kick and Twitch. And again, thank you, Ruckus, for joining us. Go to alternatecurrentradio.com for all things Ruckus. Here's his Twitter handle again and mine. Follow us on X for whatever it's worth. You won't see our posts, but give us a follow over there anyway on X at Weaponized News and at AC_WordSlinger. You can see right there at the bottom of your screen.
Come on, the CIA's doing it. Everybody's doing it.
Everybody's on there. The CIA, all the feds that are databasing you are on there, running psyops on you. So join in the fun of social engineering on social media and follow us on the X. All right, with that, we're going to sign off now. As always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and liberty. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Monday evening, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday edition of Weaponized News. Let's pray that it calms down there in Russia. That was a very large escalation. They do have a lot of they got a lot of bombs, man, and we don't need this giant escalation. And then what do you even say about Gaza? It's just they're not going to stop. U.S. could do something. We don't. So it's America. It's America's fault, really, at the end of the day. And UK, we're the ones pulling their strings. But everybody wants to blame aardvarks all day. Don't be nice to aardvarks. They're cracking down, man. You better believe they're cracking down. So you better have nothing but kind words to say about aardvarks. Let me tell you.